it's hard to really make some clear breaks between some of these topic areas, and so I've just decided where some of them will be. I'm trying to move now from perceptions to challenges. I don't really know if there's a really clear distinction, but I'm just trying to move this way, and I'm trying to keep some categories. But don't worry about these headings. I'm just trying to break it up a little bit. When I talk about challenges, the first one I want to talk about are hiring biases. So we've already seen data that show the way that uh, women and men are obviously there's a difference in their pay. There's a lack of equity. There's a gap there in their pay, and that's also affected by issues of race and ethnicity. Well, we know that in general, that's all about stuff. But in terms of hiring and applications, when an application signals to the reader that it's a woman, that candidate is seen as less desirable. And when I say signals, it can be like with the name, like Janet as opposed to James, signals as a woman. But other times when a name's not on there, there have been studies where they've done things like, I think your book referenced this one, where under community service it says served on the Parent-Teacher Association. Now that obviously is not something that only women can or do, but is often something that women do, or at least associated with women. And so anyway, when an application even just signals that this, without even having a name on it, that it might be a woman, that application is not rated as well. That applicant's not seen as being desirable. Also, when the applicant was thought to be black, male or female, right? They were seen as less desirable candidate. They would do this sometimes again with either, some studies would do a manipulation of name. So James versus Jamal, or Shaniqua as opposed to Shauna, right? Right, so problems when the applicant was thought to be black, Latinx, right? Again, changing the name, or what were their associations in college? They were a member of the Black Student Association, the La Raza, student association, something like that. Thought to be Arabic, again, name or community participation, right? Or also gay. By gay, I say gay. I really clarify. LGBTQ, right? Queer identified. Yeah, all those applicants were seen as less desirable across different factors, right? And you might guess who generally comes out on top. White men, straight white men, most often come out on top, or just without more information, they just assume the person is straight or white or a male, right? And those often come out on top. There is one really troubling scenario, however. In a study, I believe it was from 2014, a researcher wanted to know about the evaluation of job candidates, male hypothetical job candidates, and the salary that you would want to offer to them based on their resume. And their resume had a manipulation about college participation and student associations. Just the student association versus the gay student association, which was the signal that the candidate was a gay man. And there was also manipulation for race. And so in the study, when they had this, the focus was on what happens when you have a black gay male applicant. The black gay male applicant was seen as more desirable and worth paying more money to than was the straight black applicant. In the study, and this is very depressing, they also measured the perceived effeminacy of the candidate and whether or not the candidate seemed more or less threatening. What they found was that straight black men were seen as being threatening, but the higher effeminacy scores given to all men, white or black, for being gay, counterbalanced it. So the black gay man was seen as less threatening because he'd been effeminized by his sexuality. So I don't even know how to begin unpacking the levels of racism and heterosexism going on there. Other issues of hiring biases having to do really with issues of race and ethnicity I want to focus on for a moment, even though it's not specifically about gender. I think it's really important, and so I do want to look at it. And there's one specific study we're going to talk about, this Pager, Bonikowski, and Western study from 2009. You don't have to know those names. What I do want you to know is that this was a field experiment. So some studies are surveys of, well, college students, and some are surveys of working professionals, but this was a field experiment, which is to say that people were sent to apply for jobs, and what happened when they applied was then recorded. And so patterns were looked for and recognized. This is a field experiment. So this was not, if you had to hire somebody, what would you do? This was what happened when individuals went out to get a job. And so for various jobs for sort of, I think it was retail sales sort of stuff, auto sales, warehouse work, restaurant serving, in the study, they would, by gender, they would send either women or men, and one applicant, again, of that either male group or female group, one would be white, one would be black, and one would be Latinx. White applicants, not too shocking, I suppose, fared better than Latinx applicants, who fared better than black applicants. And when I say that the applicants fared better, that had to do with who would be hired or even who was actually being asked back to be interviewed, as well as looking at the qualifications the individual had and how they were considered and discussed, because the applicants went in with basically identical resumes. Excuse me, the name of the organization they'd worked for might have changed, but the number of years doing certain jobs was always the same, right? So they were comparable applicants. So, for instance, there was the case of the 3 women applying for work, I believe it was in a warehouse, and again, a white woman, a Latina, and a black woman. And the woman who's doing hiring came out and said, "We're not doing any more hiring, you can all leave." And so as they started to leave, she said, "Oh, wait," and called back the white applicant and the Latinx applicant and said, "I need to see you for a moment, please, just the 2 of you over here," and said, "All right, listen, here's the thing. You can start tomorrow if you want, but don't tell the other person. Just say that I had to bring you back over here to have you sign something." Right? That actually happened. Another time when applying for a job in doing, I think it was some retail sales, and nobody had actually done specifically retail sales. It's part of that waiting qualifications. The black applicant was dismissed out of hand. Latinx applicant, there was some hemming and hawing by the manager, not sure if they could really count the stuff you've done before as okay. And with the white applicant, they would say, "Well, I see you haven't really done this kind of work, but you did work for this company. You know, that's really close enough." So they said that. Then we get to what was one of the most, and this is not me trying to reinforce another form of discrimination, but sort of astounding finding, and that was that white felons, that is, say, those who just left prison for committing a felony, did as well or better than Latinx and black candidates with no criminal record. In the case of going to get a job in auto sales, the black applicant was told there weren't any more openings. The Latinx applicant was told, "Well, I'm going to be getting rid of a few people. I tell you what, go on and I'll give you a call on Monday for an interview." And the white applicant was, again, the felon, was given a stern talking to about if there's any hint of theft or that you're not clean, you're out of here. But I'll go ahead and I'll give you a chance. Which is to say, on the spot, was offered a job. So that's why I say white applicants fared better than Latinx applicants, and who fared better than black applicants, even to the point of the Latinx and black applicants having clean criminal backgrounds, and the white applicant, in fact, being a felon.